What's up, Mojave Wastelanders? Hope you're feeling the love. Well, I am. That's why we're going round 2 with these pacifist runs. I figure since last time we were a Legion Pacifist and still managed to be a complete monster, one that would certainly make Myron from Fallout 2 proud, why not go the other way and side with the New California Republic this time? Now, I don't mean be a vile pacifist. No, we can do that if circumstances permit. What I mean is, this time we're just gonna side with the NCR and pretty much do the same thing we did last time, but there's a lot more to it because there's a great abundance of NCR content in this game. Same rules as last time, and if this is your first video, first off, welcome. Love to see your beautiful self here. Second, here's a rundown of how we roll in our new Pacifist miniseries. We're not allowed to fight or deal damage directly under any circumstance. Allied units such as the NCR troopers and rangers who will be aiding us at Hoover Dam are fine because they don't provide us with any XP. They're just friendly NPCs who help us out. They're not direct companions. And speaking of that delicious XP soup, we're only ever allowed to use companions if we're doing their quest, like if we want to help Boone back in Novak. Or if we can use a companion to advance or even complete a major quest. Like last run, we introduced a new variety of gamey textured jerky to the White Glove Society, since we needed them to get on Kaisar's side to successfully complete that quest for the Legion. Now, if a companion does somehow give us XP, I will use a console command to remove it. The only experience points we'll ever be gaining are from exploring or by completing quests. Oh, and of course damage from obstacles such as falling damage, or if an enemy runs into a frag mine placed by another NPC, like the ones you see on Prim, that doesn't count as us dealing damage. We're not the one who placed those frag mines there, so that's fine. And while blocking is not a defensive maneuver, this isn't allowed either, so I can't just equip a weapon to lessen any damage we take. I feel like that would be going against the spirit of the challenge. On the contrary, however, our parl is unrestricted, meaning that we could, theoretically, find a suit of NCR salvaged power armor, or complete the Hidden Valley questline in favor of Hardin for power armor training, but honestly, I don't think we're going to be doing either of those. We want armor that provides a little bit of protection, but doesn't hinder our movement speed. For our NCR character, we're rocking the lightweight leather armor, since last time we were LARPing as a peace-loving raider. Now, there's something I never thought I'd say. Last but not least, we have to successfully complete each story quest for the NCR after we meet up with Ambassador Crocker. We'll be able to talk to him for the first time after we deal with Benny at the Strip. Since we have a guaranteed way to get rid of Benny as a female courier, all 4 of ours in this miniseries will be female. Black Widow's not a combat action, Benny just sucks at the one job he has. So to recap, no dealing damage directly. I'm not allowed to just recruit companions and have them fight for us, since that's very clearly against the spirit of the challenge. But in the few instances where we can make use of them to advance in quest or complete them, any XP that we do gain from them, we use a console command to get rid of it. We can use whatever outfit or armor we want, and we have to complete the main story quest for the faction we're siding with, the NCR in this case. Oh, since we are siding with the NCR, again, no shortage of side quests we can do for them. We can do as many NCR side quests as we want, and we can also do them in our later runs as well. I could have done them in the Legion run as well, but I figured there wasn't much of a point, since we'd just be enemies with them later on. And speaking of side quests, I figure we could just fast travel back to the Mojave Outpost later on and turn in that quest for Ranger Ghost whenever we want to. It's gonna be sooner than later, though. I didn't grab the one from Ranger Jackson because that requires that we take out 6 giant ants down at some little caravan path, and while I might be able to bring a couple of them close to a roaming merchant and mercenary, maybe, I put a big emphasis on maybe because I'm not sure if the ants would just retreat back to where they hang out. Ranger Ghost quest at the Mojave Outpost, and of course First Sergeant Astor's as we make our way to Cottonwood Cove. Those 2 quests are examples of ones we are guaranteed to complete without ever engaging in combat, so that's free, healthy, nice XP for us. And in regards to our little pit stop in Nipton, the NCR Trooper uniform we can grab from the little house where there's 4 dead bodies, that's used for getting access to the Strip if we're still neutral by that point. But that Recruit Legionary armor that we grabbed, yeah, we're gonna need that for much later on. That always appears next to the dead Caravaner, who managed to turn a Recruit Legionary into a bag of fun dip with no chalky white stick to enjoy the dust with. Now here at Cottonwood Cove, this time we're gonna help First Sergeant Astor. Makes a lot more sense to do this here. Plus, if we help him, there's one more part to this chain that we can complete once we get 50 lockpick. And because we have such high intelligence, that means that we can get comprehension. We're going to get that at level 6 because educated early on ASAP is the way to go. But again, we're gonna have to come complete that later because our lockpick skill is non-existent due to us having 1 perception this run. And from here we can fast travel back to that raided farmstead. I actually meant to get the Wolfhorn Ranch, but I was a little off course. I actually forgot that the raided farmstead was a thing, so kinda cool to see that again after so long. But before we do go to Novak, I figure this is the time for us to go ahead and just fast travel back to the Mojave Outpost so we can turn in our quest to Ranger Ghost. I don't think we'll be coming back here this run. And while you're doing Cold Heart, which you get from Wolpez, and that's part of Ranger Ghost's little quest, make sure that you talk to the Sergeant too, so you get a little bit of extra experience points. Now, when we get to Novak, we're going to help Boone like before, but we're also going to help out Ranger Andy here. See, he hasn't heard from his buddies at Ranger Station Charlie for a little while. You got to make sure that you listen to the 2 holotapes as well, and I'm going to show you a fun little trick for looting this place. You see, the room adjacent to us is rigged like crazy, so all you gotta do is open the door, grab one of the NCR troopers' bodies, fling it inside, and let it set off the trap. Next up is Boulder City, and I think we know what we're gonna do here. We've been focusing in speech, and we are easily going to be able to pass the check to convince Jessup to stand down, and we can negotiate a truce, a peaceful outcome for both factions here. And this is going to be great because with Accepted, we can now get into the Strip without needing to disguise ourselves. And being accepted with the Great Khans means that we can get access to their armory, which we don't really need this run. But just in case we do need an extra vendor, it never hurts, you know? Once we hit Accepted, a ranger will track us down and give us an NCR emergency radio. We can actually make use of that this run and keep radioing in emergency supplies. To be consistent with our rules, I'll ban the use of the NCR Trooper or Ranger, but there's nothing stopping us from getting a healthy dose of supplies this run. And it's a real shame that we can't give these supplies to the good boys here at Camp Forlorn Hope. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I thought this when I first came here. I'm like, is it actually possible to clear out Camp Forlorn Hope's entire chain without dealing damage? I mean, most of these quests you can, but you just know the assault on Nelson. We have to try it this run. However, before we get to that point, we gotta do a couple of little chores around here. To kick things off, Major Pilati. I called him Major Polatsky in the Roach King run. I don't know why I said that. Major Pilati wants us to check in with the Quartermaster, and the Quartermaster wants us to get some supplies that should have been back to the camp by now, and thankfully we already have Helios 1 on our fast travel point. So it's just a matter of fast traveling there and making our way east. While we're here, gonna go ahead and help Dr. Richards find the culprit who's been stealing his chems, the Hydra that he uses for his patients. Private Stone here is the one who's behind it. But since we're specializing in medicine and speech, we can easily talk him down and convince him to turn himself in. Not only do we get experience points from doing this quest for Dr. Richards, but passing the skill checks gives us a nice little shot in the arm. All said and done, it's time to go ahead and try and get those supplies. We just have to get past fire geckos, possibly cazadores, and a couple of legionaries who are going to ambush us. What could go wrong here? Now, as we make our way to the supplies, what we can do is equip our Legion armor, so we're disguised as a legionary. So when we get there and loot the supplies, the legionaries will be friendly to us, and that's going to be kind of funny because we're getting swarmed by fire geckos. Gotta say, I don't like the legionaries' odds of survival here. And it's a real good thing that we hotkeyed stim packs and super stim packs because these fire geckos hurt like crazy. Also gotta make sure that we change back into our lightweight leather armor before we get back to Helios 1, lest we get shot on sight. I like that I go off course and accidentally attract a swarm of cazadores, and I'm like, oh boy, this is where we're gonna die, right? This is gonna be our first death in our pacifist miniseries. But as luck would have it, either they fought each other or there was some enemy or NPC who attracted the attention of the geckos and the cazadores, allowing us to get away scot-free. Upon returning to the camp, we can go ahead and help Dr. Richards with a task Pilati has given us, and with our medicine check super high. The only one that we actually don't have a medicine check to pass is the last one, but we had plenty of supplies. Perfect, because now we're gonna go try and take out Nelson without us being able to fight, so good luck, NCR troopers and Sergeant Cooper. Now, the NCR troopers have this uncanny ability to make their service rifles nigh automatic with their trigger fingers, so that's what I was thinking going in here, though, so we should be okay. Well, things don't go according to plan. That's pretty typical here on this channel. The Legion Explorers and the little mongrel make short work of the two nameless NCR troopers, but Sergeant Cooper, yo, that boy's got some fight in him. You are not gonna believe how this goes down. So even though the first two NCR troopers were bullet sponges, Sergeant Cooper must have gotten enraged from their deaths and powered up because he takes out this entire squad by himself with a fair bit of health still at his disposal. Okay, guys, how long can Sergeant Cooper last for this onslaught here? He's the only thing that's going to allow us to win this part of the quest. And I gotta say, so far, so good. Looking real good here. One-on-one is ideal for our good Sergeant here. I'm guessing that he has a bit more health and better stats than the average NCR trooper, which isn't really that difficult because I did a run as an NCR trooper in Fallout 3. You should definitely go check that out. That's one of my favorite runs I've done here on this channel. NCR troopers have 5 clear across the board. I'll have to go check on Sergeant Cooper's stats. Actually, I'm editing. I can do that right now. Nope, he appears to have the exact same special allocation as the standard NCR trooper, although we can see that he is a minimum of level 12. Okay, cool, that makes a bit more sense. That's very interesting. I didn't even consider that going into this. I figured that the NCR troopers would mostly do okay, but, well, this is the Sergeant Cooper part of the run, I guess. Oh, alright, the good Sergeant is squaring down with what looks like another Legion Explorer. That's the tougher of the two mobs here, not counting Dead Sea himself, of course. Yeah, looking real good. Sergeant Cooper lives to fight yet another day. Now, while we're here, we can go ahead and free the hostages, although that will turn the Legion hostile, so we're going to want to clear all the guys remaining outside before we do that. Cooper says when he got this assignment, he's hoping there'd be more gambling. I think this is rather high-risk stakes, my friend. Well, alright then. They all seem to be cleared out, so I'll go ahead, free them. That's going to aggro Dead Sea and his little group of goons inside here. Good luck, Sergeant Cooper. We are rooting for you. It's a shame I can't give you a stim pack, even though I have plenty of them on me. And while this is going down, I have a great idea. I'm like, why don't I just stand in front of the Legionaries, and even though they're shooting at Cooper, I think we can sponge some of the damage ourselves and keep him alive a little bit longer. You know, we finally get a good DPS, so it's gotta be up to us to start tanking this. Now, like Sergeant Cooper, Dead Sea does have a bit better stats, but up against the recruit Legionaries, our good boy here is doing quite an effective job. So that means that without courier intervention, Sergeant Cooper basically solos this entire camp. Well, that's pretty cool at least. Maybe we should give him the emergency radio so he can phone in a ranger. If only we had that option. Well, Dead Sea has a fair bit of health left, and it doesn't look like Sergeant Cooper's dead, but I don't see him anywhere. Well, you're not gonna believe this either, but it turns out that I guess Sergeant Cooper just got sick of being awesome, so he just up and runs away, man. And it turns out that I did miss a couple of roaming Legionaries, so that's a shame. But luckily, they will follow us on over to Ranger Milo. He and the NCR guys, kudos to the one who was fist-fighting a Legionary, by the way. They make pretty short work of them, but there's still the matter of Dead Sea for us to deal with. So we rush back on over to where he is, and I think he glitched out for a second here. Either that or he was just chowing down on some healing powder. I don't know. But eventually, he's like, oh yeah, I have to attack this profligate, so we're able to lure him on back, and, well, you see it yourselves. Ranger Milo does our job for us. So wait, I'm like, Milo, why did you want to kill the hostages again? You could have just kicked in the door and killed all these guys. And yes, I know the answer is that orders were for them to stay put. And just like the NCR higher-ups, we can go ahead and reap in all the rewards and prestige for something we had no part in. Letting the lower riffraff deal with it? Nah, we're getting the credit for this one. So we're just gonna look Ranger Pilati dead in the eye and be like, yep, we did all of that by ourselves. No assistance whatsoever. Yeah, feeling pretty good. Well, that was a lot of fun. So I think we've earned ourselves a little vacay time on this trip, and because we are accepted with the NCR, again, we don't need the disguise at this point. We can just go by the guards, and because we have a reputation so high, they consider us one of them, so hey, cool. Actually, before that, we can actually have them do another quest for us. Let's go ahead and have them kill Driver Nephi, and then we can turn in the bounty ourselves. Now, there is an option once you take this quest. You can get Lieutenant Gorbitz and the 1st Recon to help you take these guys out. That's always a solid option anyway, because there are a lot of fiends here. And Driver Nephi does have enhanced speed, and I think we all know why that is. That said, there's a fair chance that Nephi's head will be mangled, as we have no control over what the 1st Recon does. Although, fortunately, at the end of the day, also, Driver Nephi actually used a buff out and jet. Never seen that before. That's cool. But yeah, the head's in perfect condition. Awesome. So we'll get full XP and full bottle caps. That's a sweet 250. Also, don't forget to talk to Lieutenant Gorbitz after this is done, because he'll have 300 additional bottle caps to give you. And it's right around this time where I'm like, you know, let's hold off on the strip for now. For the time being, let's go ahead and mop up some other quests before we head on over there. And what better thing to do than to head over to the Boomers of Nellis and help them out without laying a finger on anything we have to fight, because they're the savages, not us. And yeah, unfortunately, because it's a pacifist run, can't kill Georgie boy. But that's not going to stop me from trying to get him to run into the artillery field and have the boomers kill him for us. And while we're here, like always, we'll pick up our pressure cooker. We'll need that for the rebreather that Jack can make for us. Hey, Georgie boy, how you doing, buddy? And even better, we can actually make use of the rebreather as a defensive item for this run. See, last time he just ran back to where he stands, but this time, oh no, he's giving us chase. He's taking that personally. He thought he could get out of being our little mascot for our channel. I don't think so. Also, I'm pretty sure the boomers just killed him because I don't see a dot on our little compass. But then again, we do have a 1 perception, so I'll leave that open-ended. And I figure when we get to the boomers, we're going to do what we always do here. We're going to help out with Aunt Misbehavin', the best quest name. I love that little pun. We'll talk to Pete and learn about the history of the boomers, and we have plenty of skill checks to complete to successfully clear the special answer options we have. Now, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but that also increases our reputation by just a bit more, in addition to giving us some sweet experience points. Now, see, this time I actually forgot to go to Camp Golf and get it on our fast travel point because I was having so much fun with stuff like Camp Forlorn Hope and having the first recon kill Driver Nephi for us that I forgot to come here. But that's okay. The perfect way for me to show this off in a video, too, because this is always someone's first video. The reason why you want to go to Camp Golf early, and hopefully you're not hated by the NCR at this point, is because you can fast travel, make your way east of the Crash B-29, making sure you have your rebreather on hand. That's why you want to get the pressure cooker from the field shack. Don't worry about the lake lurks either. They will always just go back to where they were hanging out. Okay, now we've earned a vacation at the strip here, but we don't have time to chill around here. We're gonna go straight for the tops and deal with Benny. And by deal with, I mean use Black Widow in order to dispose of Benny in a non-combat situation. And one other thing that we're going to want to do while we're here is we actually do want to talk to Yes Man because we want to be able to ask him about the Omertas. That will unlock how little we know. I don't do that here. I actually end up having to backtrack a little bit. But if you do that right away and you still don't want to side with Yes Man, you want to side with like the NCR or Mr. House or something, but you want to get rid of the Omertas early, perfect way to do it because that will cause Kachino to spawn. You can also do Joanna's little quest if you want to, but we're not. With Benny disposed of, we can go ahead and make our way on over to the Lucky 38 to deal with Mr. House, and because we have to kill him or neutralize him for the NCR, there is an option. Now, I believe that in order to unlock this option that you have to talk to him and pick the option where you tell him, that's okay, you live, we'll just disable your cerebral whatever. It takes this option a good minute to appear, I don't know why, but whatever. Now, since we're in the strip there for a nearby free side, we can go ahead and help out the Kings. This time we want to help them out in favor of the NCR. That's who we're siding with. And resolving the issue with the Kings is the second quest that Ambassador Crocker gives us. We haven't met him just yet, but I figured to go ahead and get it out of the way. There's a ton of experience points we can get for this. We have more than enough skill in our skill checks to pass the checks and resolve everything in a peaceful manner. And you know what? While we're at it, let's go ahead and head on back to Cottonwood Cove. Remember early in the run where I said we have to get 30 lockpick? Well, that's because in order to dump these barrels of radioactive waste down there, we need a skill of 50 to do it. We only have 30, as you see here, but because we still have the Locksmith Reader's Guide from Sunny Smiles at the start of the run, just pop it, open up that back door, and let everything fly. And yeah, a couple people might have died down there. But you don't have to save them in order to complete this for First Sergeant Astor. And because the Legion didn't actually see us pull this off, we haven't lost any reputation with them, nor have we earned their ire, so that's pretty cool. Swinging back up to the strip here, the character kind of glitches out and doesn't sit down. Big Cell needs to learn the meaning of personal space, but we're still able to convince him that Nero set him up. So Nero can kill him for us, we can get the key, run away, and Kachino runs away too, thanks jerk. And fortunately for us, the Omerta thugs are on our side, and they register Nero as the bad guy here. I guess the Omerta thugs want a change in management. I mean, Kachino's not much better, but hey, at least we got the quest cleared. Just in time, too, we've leveled up. We're going to go ahead and take that second rank in toughness as well. That way we're a little bit more durable come time for Hoover Dam. So now we can formally meet Crocker and start clearing out the quests and getting credit for the ones we've already done. I always liked Ambassador Crocker, for sure one of the better guys in the NCR. And now, because we have not yet cashed in our favor with the Kings yet, we can go do that. Heading back to Freeside and going to the School of Impersonation, we're going to go ahead and cash in our favor. The King's not quite sure if he can pull it off, but we're like, hey man, they're going to listen to you. And he's like, you know what? Yeah, you're right, they will. Some of the other locals will just have to straighten them out. So, cool. And hey, before we become hostile to the Legion, might as well go ahead, hit up Fortification Hill, and just enter the camp. What must the Legionaries and Kaiser be thinking when they see this girl walk in? Just grab a book and walk straight out. You're not gonna do anything? Well, okay. We need that Legion slave ledger in order to convince Regis to convince Papa Khan to break off the alliance with Kaiser. Now, 3 of those characters we have to convince are very easy, but the one who's a bit out of the way is Melissa. And thankfully, while I was stealing from the boomers, I also got 2 stealth boys, and even if I didn't get those, I could have just gone to RepCon, gotten another Locksmith Reader's Guide, busted open the safe, whatever. But man, this was so tense. I was like, that Deathclaw better not see me. I'm doing real good on this. And fortunately for us, we are just far enough away for him to lose interest. I mean, these guys have great senses, and the fact we were able to pull that off, very nice. So we talk to Melissa, we tell her that Carl was lying to her, she's mad. After that, we tell Papa Khan, hey, Wyoming sounds cool, why not head that way? And he's like, you know what, you're right, cool, we're gonna leave, bye. Now, we have not yet dealt with the Brotherhood, and whoa, what's this? We're not bringing Veronica along? Nah, I figured to change it up a bit this time, and I didn't feel like doing more console commands to get rid of XP, so the Bark Scorpions outside are still alive. So we're gonna go ahead and chill with Ranger Dobson and let him know what's up. This feels a bit more appropriate for an NCR run anyway. Only need her a couple of speech checks, minimum 30, minimum 50, we can convince him to leave without tipping off the Brotherhood, so we're good to go. Although they're not going to be, because Cassandra Moore wants them gone, and we have to do things the peaceful way. So there's no choice but to turn the bunker of Hidden Valley into Happy Festival fireworks. Remember, kids, it doesn't count as damage if the explosion comes from the terminal that you set off, which you triggered. I have to say, we're not the straight-up monster that we were in our Legion Pacifist run, but this character still is kind of a jerk. Putting NCR lives at risk for her own personal glory, taking credit for things she didn't do. Man, she would be perfect in the Kimball and Oliver administration. I like to think that this character is some high-ranking VIP, like she came from a wealthy family. So the NCR are just rolling their eyes like, oh god, we have to protect this person. And of course, since Oliver is the one who is spearheading the Mojave campaign after the first Battle of Hoover Dam, that gives him some more brownie points in the public's eye. He's protecting this high-ranking individual whom the common NCR citizen probably hates as much as the Brahmin Barons. And yeah, you saw the Bark Scorpions, they were still alive, but under the effects of Stealth Blight, no problem. We did get Day Tripper this time around as well. Combine that with Logan's Loophole, and you can stay invisible for quite a while. Now, we aren't liked with the NCR, but when you're talking to Ranger Grain about plans for the next day, you gotta make sure that you request full access in order to get this option. No matter what your reputation is, you won't be allowed up here at the helipad. Conversely, you can get the NCR engineer outfit from the locker room. And of course, disarming the bomb, no problem. Our repair skill is higher than what we actually need to do it, so yeah, everything goes off without a hitch. I feel good about that one. Some character development for our pacifist here. She is actually directly responsible for saving the president's life. She didn't have other people do it for her. Don't you just feel proud of our NCR peace lover? And from there, we're going straight to the final battle. And by straight to the final battle, I mean we've resupplied a little bit. As we make our way up, we're gonna go ahead, open up our sweet Pit Boy, and slap on that Legion disguise. And, well, this just got super easy for us because, well, clearly they didn't plan for this. But if you have a Legion outfit, I mean, the Kenturians can see through your disguise. You want to watch out for them. But you could just make your way on up to the top surface level. And I feel pretty confident in that claim because the NCR troopers don't attack you despite the fact that you're disguised as a legionary. You'd think the Legion would know better because there are no women legionaries. But hey, maybe it was just the heat of battle that has most of them confused. And I mean, you're going to see here in a second, once you get to the second side, the NCR veteran ranger who talks to you doesn't attack us despite the fact that we're wearing Legion garb. I guess he recognizes our face better than the Legionaries can recognize one of theirs. Yep, already at the Legate's camp, and you just know that Legate Lanius is shivering at the sight of 2 Rangers with combat knives because, boy, do we bully him a lot with melee builds on this show. I guess the NCR training regiment doesn't include Super Slam as a perk, or common sense as far as those guys were concerned. And because we sided with the NCR this time, our meeting with Oliver is amicable and one of respect, so yeah, that's game, baby. I really hope you guys enjoyed that run, and I'm gonna be straight with you, I actually liked this run a little bit better than the Legion one. I mean, the Legion one was fun, but being able to clear out the Camp Forlorn Hope quest chain without dealing damage, that's a winner in my book. Once that happened, I was like, nah, this is my favorite run. It's probably gonna be my favorite run. But we got 2 more to go, Mr. House and Yes Man. House is up next. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you at the next run.